We created our own flavor of Neovim specifically for you, Mzansi, and it's called MzansiVim. Before we jump into MzansiVim, let's understand what Neovim is all about. So we're going to head over to their page and let's read what it's about. So it's a hyper-extensible Vim-based text editor. So basically, in plain language, this is a highly customizable terminal-based text editor that focuses on keeping your hands on the keyboard and not touching your mouse. So it's built for speed to make sure that you code it in the most efficient way possible. So now that we know what Neovim is all about, let me explain what MzansiVim is. MzansiVim is a new flavor of Neovim created by Mzansi for Mzansi, to make it just a little bit easier for you to dive into the world of Neovim without any of the configuration headaches that come with Neovim. So basically, it's similar to something like LazyVim. LazyVim is a Neo setup powered by lazy.nvm to make it easy to customize and extend your configuration. And you can see this one over here, it's more for people that are coming from VS Code and want to dive into something that's very similar to the VS Code look and feel. So if we have a look at the image right here, this is the LazyVim setup. You can see there's a tree view just like VS Code where you can select your different files. When you select the files, it opens up in different tabs. And you also have your syntax highlighting, you have your pop-ups for your hints and your code actions, all of the above. So now that we know what MzansiVim is all about, let's see how we can install it and set it up on our side. In order to get started with MzansiVim, what you'll have to do is head over to our Git repositories. So they can be found in two places. One is the official MIH Git. You can see the URL at the top of the screen, or it can be found on GitHub. You should just search for MzansiVim on both sides and they should appear over there. So in this tutorial, we're going to be following along to the MIH Git and using this repo as our origin. So let's scroll through and see what MzansiVim is all about. MzansiVim, the no-fuss Neovim kickstart for Mzansi. So it's a pre-configured performance-orientated Neovim setup designed to get you from zero to coding in minutes. Built for local developers who want a powerful IDE experience without the manual configuration overhead that normally comes with Neovim. So let's look at some of the key features over here. So MzansiVim comes with an LSP and autocomplete. So this is, if you're similar to VS Code, it's when they give you some hints on the screen that pop up, and you can also tab and autocomplete some code. Next is first-class Flutter support. So because MIH, we love Flutter over here for our front-end development, we have integrated that inside MzansiVim. Next is fast navigation. This includes the Harpoon and Telescope plugins on Neovim, but we'll dive into that later when we've already installed Neovim and we're having a look at how to navigate things. Next is modern aesthetic. So it does come with a dark theme, making it look just a little bit better and similar to what you're used to in VS Code or any other IDEs that you have. We also have syntax highlighting. So we have syntax highlighting for over 15 different languages. And we'll jump into the languages a little bit later on. And if you'd like, let us know what your favorite language is so that we can add it in to the next version of MzansiVim. Next is Git integration. And then we also have a custom dashboard, just making it a little bit easier when you just first jump into MzansiVim. Next, if we scroll down on the documentation, we have the essential keybindings. So if you are familiar with Vim and Neovim, it is a keyboard-focused text editor that has a lot of keyboard shortcuts that just makes it easy for you to navigate around the IDE and also editing and updating your code and adding code in. So this is the key bindings that we have. We won't go into details now. Once we finish up the installation of MzansiVim, then we can head over and look at what the key bindings do. So we'll scroll through all of them. I know there's a lot. Don't get overwhelmed by them. You can just skip right past it. And now we can get started. So in order to get started, there is some prerequisites. So the first thing that you'll need is a terminal. So if you're using Mac OS or a Linux distribution, it should be easy for you. If you're using Windows, I think you should be able to use WSL, if I'm not mistaken, Windows subsystem for Linux, and it should work over there also. But I haven't tested that out because I don't have a Windows machine. So some prerequisites to get started. We're going to open up our terminal in order to do everything for this tutorial. If you look at the bottom, before we look at anything over here, we do recommend that you use the Ghosty terminal because it just makes it easy for you when you're jumping over to different operating systems and different computers. And setting up the configuration and stuff will be seamless between them if you're using Ghosty. So some prerequisites in getting started. You have to have Neovim installed on your computer. So in order to check that, you'll head over to your terminal, type nvim --version, press enter. And then if you get something like this that tells you the NVim version, it is installed. If you don't see something like this, it means that NVim is not installed. So please make sure that you go through this list and install every single software that's listed here. So Neovim is fine. We'll move on to Git -- version. That's sorted. The next one is tree-sitter CLI. So I know on Linux, you can see over here I made a mistake. I did say tree-sitter CLI -- version, but that's the command when you're over on Linux. If you're on Mac, just say tree-sitter -- version and you should see something like this. If not, make sure it's installed. Next we have ripgrip. So this is rg -- version. And you can see it's sorted. Then we have node -- version. Right. npm. I'm not sure if npm is installed on this computer, and we'll install it if it's not there. Okay, it is 11.11. Perfect. And then go. So I think it's go version. Perfect. So all our prerequisites softwares are installed and we are ready to move on to the next step. As I mentioned previously, we will be using the Ghosty terminal for this. And here's some configuration setup in order for you to have the similar look and feel to what we have. So in order to do that, on Mac, you'll click on the menu button at the top, the Ghosty title, and then click on settings. A text editor will appear, then you can copy and paste the configurations here. If you're on a Linux distribution, click on the hamburger menu and there should be configuration over there. Click on that. It'll be the same thing and text editor will open up and you can copy and paste that configurations there. Now we can dive into the exciting part, the actual installation. So if you have a look at number 1, preparing configuration directory. So there's 2 ways to do this. If it's a brand new fresh install, you can follow the first step. If you have an existing setup like myself, you'll follow the next step. So I'm going to follow the existing setup step, but you can follow whichever one you are comfortable with. So I'll copy that over. I'll paste this into my terminal. I'll press enter. Perfect. And now we'll move on to the next part, which is cloning the repo. So I'll just navigate over to that directory with cd. I'll paste that in, enter. Okay, so because I moved everything over, I don't have that directory, so I'll head over and copy the make directory section. So I'll copy that, paste it in, enter, and then now I'll move into that directory. Now everything is sorted. If I ls into this, or if we say pwd, I'm in the Neovim config folder, and if I ls, you can see that it's empty. So yours should look something like this. The next thing that we'll do is clone the repository. So in the README file, it does have the repository of the main mih-git, but you can use the GitHub repository if you'd like. So I'll just copy this one, and I'll paste that in, and then press enter. You'll give it some time to do its things, and it should be done. Now when we do ls, you'll see that we have our setup there for us. Now that all our configurations are sorted, and we've cloned the repo, all you have to do to open up MzansiVim is type nvim, then press enter, and then give it some time to load for the first time. You will see the lazy menu will open up where everything will start installing automatically for you and building and things. So give it some time. Once it's all completed, you should see the color change and the lazy menu is there available for you. What you can do is just press Q to close that. And now you're on a blank screen. In order to head over to the MzansiVim dashboard, you just type the leader key, which is space, and then semicolon. It should take you through to the MzansiVim dashboard. Going forward, every single time you open up nvim, the Mzansi dashboard will be the first thing that you see. Now that everything is installed successfully on our side, what we can do is we can look at the dashboard and look at the key bindings on our README file to give us some idea of how to navigate things and use MzansiVim. So the very first thing that we need to know is, what is the leader key? So the leader key comes before any key combination to perform a specific function inside MzansiVim. In our setup, what we have as the leader key is space. So when you hear me talk about the leader key, I'm talking about the space bar. Just make sure that you keep that in mind going forward. The next thing to note down is the dashboard key bindings are only active on the dashboard screen itself and not on any other screen, like if you have a text file open. And when you're on the dashboard, you don't need to use the leader key. You can just press the buttons as shown on the screen over here, like CD, like FF, like FG. So let's look at our MzansiVim dashboard. So the first thing that we have is our file explorer. You can navigate with either the arrow keys, or you can use your HJ, KL keys. If you're familiar with Vim, it should feel very natural to you. So once we know which one we want, we can either move over with our keys and press enter, or what we can do is just press CD to enter into the file explorer. So I type CD, and now I'm into the file explorer. Here it gives you a list of all of your files, similar to if you are doing an ls command in the terminal. So you can see there's different folders available for us, there's different files available for us. And you can navigate through them with the arrow keys or your movement keys, your Vim movement keys. And let's say, for example, I want to navigate over to the example folder. I'll just press enter. It'll take me over to the example folder. And I want to go into lib. I'll enter that. And now I want to open up our main.dart file. So I'll navigate over and press enter. And you can see I'm straight into our file and I can start editing. But before we move on to editing, let's head back to our dashboard. And in order to do that, you just press the leader key and semicolon. That'll navigate you back over to the dashboard. The next thing is a fuzzy finder. This allows you to find any file in your entire project. So from the repository that you opened up Neovim, you can find any files inside it. So I'll navigate over to fuzzy finder, or just press FF. And that will open up the fuzzy finder screen. What you can do over here is just type in anything you want. I'll type in main, I'll press enter, and it'll take me to the exact same place as what I did with using the file explorer. Let's head back over to our dashboard, leader semicolon. Next is the live grep. So my understanding of this is it allows you to search for specific text inside your entire repository. So let's try this out. And over here, I'll say example, or let me do this. Let me say example MIH package. You can see it's available in README files and also in my main file. So I'll navigate over with my arrow keys and then press enter on any one that I want. And it takes me through to my main.dart file. I'll head back over to the dashboard, leader semicolon, and let's see what's next. So if you're coming from VS Code, I'm sure you are familiar with the concept of tabs. So you'll open up one file, it'll open up a tab. You'll do some work over there. Maybe you want to do some work on another file simultaneously. You'll click on a file, it'll open up another tab, and then you can navigate between those two different files. So inside MzansiVim, we don't have tabs. What we are going to be using is the Harpoon menu. Think of Harpoon as the bag that sits next to you that holds the different files that you want to use. So the first thing we're going to do is have a look at the Harpoon menu. So I'll just press E, or the command for this if you're anywhere else is Control E. And the Harpoon menu will appear. You can see it's empty at the moment, and that's what you should see on your side, because our Harpoon bag that's sitting next to us doesn't have any files inside it. So I'll escape from there. Then I'll head over to our find files. I'll search for main. I'll press enter. And then I want to add this file, our main file, into our Harpoon bag, into our Harpoon menu. In order to do this, you press the leader key and A. And then if I open our Harpoon menu now with Control E, you should see that we have our main file there. Let's head back over to our dashboard, leader semicolon. Let's add another file. So I'll open up our fuzzy finder, our file finder, and let's search for the README file. I have my README, I'll press enter to open it up, and I'm going to add this file to my Harpoon bag. So I'm going to press leader key A, and now if I open up my Harpoon menu with Control E, you'll see that there's now two files over there, and I can easily switch between them just by opening up the menu, navigating over to the one, and pressing enter. So that's what Harpoon is all about. Let's head back over to our menu, our dashboard, and let's see what Harpoon search is. So Harpoon search is similar to the fuzzy finder or the file finder, where we'll open that up and it will allow you to search for a specific file inside your Harpoon menu or your Harpoon bag. For now, I don't think I'll use it that much because I'm new to Harpoon and I'm keeping my Harpoon list a little short of things that I'm navigating between. So let's say I've completed my work that I want to do in main.dart and I want to remove it from my Harpoon list. What do I do in order to do that? So I'll open up the Harpoon menu. navigate over to the main.dart file, press double D. That's one of the Vim commands to delete a line. So DD, it'll delete that. But if we press escape and open up our menu again, it'll still be there. That's because we haven't saved it. So I'm going to delete that line. Then I'm going to press colon, W, enter. And now if I open up our Harpoon menu, you'll see that our main.dart file is no longer there. It's only our README file. So that's how you manage Harpoon in your Harpoon list. The next thing that we're going to look at is the Lazy Manager. So Lazy is a package manager that makes it easy for us to install, add, and manage the different packages that we have inside our MzansiVim setup. If I open this up, this is something familiar to you because this opened up when you first opened up MzansiVim. So here it just shows you all of the different plugins that are loaded, and it'll also show you the different errors that are there. What you can do is you can press I to install things or press Shift U to update everything, so it's going to fetch different updates for the different plugins that we have. We can sync our different plugins, Shift S, it'll sync everything up. We can have a look at the logs, we can check the different plugins, and lots of different things that we dive into over here. Next we have our help tags. So if I open this up, this is just a fuzzy finder to find help on the different functionalities inside Neovim and MzansiVim. So let's say, for example, I search for window, press enter. It'll open up the documentation for the window so you can see how exactly do I set things up over here, or how exactly do I use the different menu options. And we definitely left the most important thing for last. I'm sure you are familiar with the meme of getting stuck in Vim. So we made it super easy and super simple for you to leave Vim. Just make sure you're on the dashboard and simply press Q. Once you do that, it'll exit Vim and take you back to your terminal. So that's the basic functionality of what MzansiVim is all about and the features that it provides you with. So let's head back over to our documentation and scroll down to our LSP and development section. So everything below this has to do with writing code and the shortcuts that assist in making it a little bit easier over there for you to manage things. So what I'll do is I'll press FF to have our fuzzy finder, and I'll go back to our main file. I'll make sure that I add it to our Harpoon list with leader A. As you can see, it's there. And we can get coding over here. Some of the main things that you might be familiar with is when using VS Code, what I would normally do is hover over a specific text to get a contextual menu about what this function or what this class or method or whatever it is all about. In MzansiVim, because it's keyboard based, what you will do is press Shift K and a pop-up window will appear where you can see the documentation. If you want to move into that window to scroll down through it, what you can do is press Ctrl WW, and you are switched now into this window where you can scroll down with your keys to make sure that you understand what everything is about. This is a little bit long. Let's head over to a simpler one. So I'll head down to, let's go to the MIH package and press Ctrl K. And what you can see is the pop-up menu appears where you can see what kind of parameters are required for our MIH package. The next thing that you might want to know is going to the definition of a specific action. So let's say, for example, I want to head over to our action button. You can see it at the bottom of the screen. Instead of me searching for it or scrolling through it, what I would do is just press GD, which stands for go to definition. And that'll automatically take me to where this function was declared and the actual code of it. Perfect. The next thing that we're going to look at is code actions. So if you are familiar with Flutter, inside VS Code, what you could normally do is press Control dot or Command dot, depending on the operating system that you are using, and it'll bring up a menu that you can wrap the current widget inside another widget. So let's see how we do that in MzansiVim. So in order to do that, it's very similar to VS Code, except it just has a different command. So what you will do is press leader key CA, leader key code actions. That's what it stands for. So I'll press leader key code actions, and that will automatically bring up a menu that I can select from. And you can see the familiar stuff like wrap with widget, wrap with center, wrap with expanded, wrap with flex, and you can also start typing. So let's say I want to use a row. I can just type row, it's over there, I'll press enter, and it will automatically wrap my code with a row widget. extremely similar to what VS Code is all about. The next is align the files. So let's say, for example, I was typing some code in and my code is not looking too, I was typing some code in and my file is not looking too aligned. So how do we align our file automatically? So what you can do is, if you just save your file, you'll see it will automatically align to you, similar to VS Code. But if you don't want to save and you just want to align things, what you can do is press leader key. I think RN is wrong. So RN is definitely wrong, I'll fix that, but it should be leader key AF, align file, leader key AF, leader key align file. That's what you'll use to align your file. But personally, I don't do that. I just save my file and then have it auto align for me. The next thing is references. I don't use this much, but it's there if you want to use it. And then also renaming. Rename all occurrences of the symbol. I don't know how to use this properly, but we'll get better and we'll make a follow-up tutorial on this. Next thing that we're going to have a look at is diagnostics, so error handling, warnings, all of the above. This is something that VS Code was super helpful at managing and fixing and all of those kind of things. So let's see how we do that in MzansiVim. So let's add some errors to our file. So what we will do is, let's say for example, I'm missing a specific parameter inside the MIH package action. You can see on the side of it, it does give you some hints automatically where it says the named parameter icon is required. So you can just go ahead and do it from now. But let's say you have multiple different files, multiple different errors. So we're going to have an error there by MIH package. We're going to have an error over here. So now we have multiple different errors in our file. So normally what I would do is I would look at VS Code. There used to be a side menu where you could scroll through and see the entire file and look where the errors are over there. But over here, you don't have to do that. You don't have to leave your keyboard. What you can do is press leader key error list, EL, leader key EL. What that will do is it will bring up a list of the different errors that are available that you can use, that you can navigate through. Let's say, for example, I want to fix this error on the screen right now. Or let's say, for example, I want to fix this error on the screen, the second one. I'll navigate over to it, press enter, and I can see over it also gives me some information. The name parameter is not there. So I'll have O icon. And I'll just make it an icon, MIH icon.logo. I'll put this here and I'll save. I'm not sure why the error doesn't automatically remove from here, but if I navigate back over to our error list, I'll just close this with :Q, and then I'll open up my error list again, EL, and you can see that error is gone. I'll understand how to fix it and get things automatically updated over here. But for now, just close that window and open it up again. Let's see what other. So there's 3 errors at the moment. So undefined class and some gibberish over there. So I'll head over and I say, oh, I accidentally typed that in. I'll just press DD to delete that whole line. I'll save. And let's open it up again. So I'll press leader EL, but what you'll see is the window is not opening up for us now. I'll press it again, nothing's happening, and that's because all of our errors have been fixed inside our file. So that's how you manage the different errors and warnings inside MzansiVim. The next thing is window management. I'm still learning this, so this is an ongoing experience, so we'll definitely make a follow-up video. Let me know if you're interested in something like that, explaining how the different windowing systems work. Next one is commenting. So inside VS Code, there was an option where you can just press Control/ or Command/ and it would automatically comment out some code for you. So we've integrated that into MzansiVim also. So all you have to do is press Control/ and it will comment it out. And to uncomment it out, just do it again. So you just switch between them. And let's say, for example, you want to highlight some and comment out a whole block of code. So I'll press Shift V, which highlights the entire line for me. I'll scroll all the way down. Once I'm happy with what is highlighted, I'll press Control/ again, and it will highlight all the selected lines for us. Perfect, and that's your intro into MzansiVim. I know there's still a lot of things that can be improved with MzansiVim, but this is an ongoing experience and we'll slowly but surely make things a little bit better as you provide feedback to me as I start using it more and more and finding the limitations with MzansiVim, just like the error list that we have. So please feel free to comment down below how we can improve things. Or what you can do is you can head over to the MIH Git T. This is our active Git T where we look at the different issues and manage the different pull requests. Our GitHub repo is just a backup of everything that's on the MIH Git T. So make sure you head over to the MIH Git T. The best way to do this is head over to MIH, click on About MIH, and scroll all the way down to the bottom to follow our journey. And you can click on the Git button, and that'll take you over to the MIH Git T, specifically the MIH project. But just head over to Explore, and you should be able to see MzansiVim over there. You can just click on that and get started over there. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm so excited that we've created this together, and I have been using it, and I can see that I'm flying through the code. Things are looking much easier. The only speed bumps to the workflow, like I mentioned, is the error list stuff, not updating correctly, automatically, and also Flutter. So what I've been doing is running Flutter in a separate tab on the Ghosty terminal and managing everything from there. I know there's functionality to do that inside MzansiVim, but we have to do a deep dive on how to use that and get that sorted. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned a lot about it. I hope you're going to use the MzansiVim IDE. And please feel free to head over to our MIH Git T and give us a star over there, give us some comments, and that's where you're going to pull your stuff. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to hearing your thoughts on MzansiVim, and let's keep working hard, Mzansi.